Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the Ohno radio show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, fuck, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
And welcome back once again to yet another edition of the Ohno Wrestling Podcast here on the very last day of August 2021 with episode number 132. My name is Owen and I am your Sharp Break Kid. Along with me is, well, the other captain, they will say, but the king of bong style. I liked how your captain hat sort of doubles as a crown there, Duncan.
It sure does. It's the captain's crown. I'm only the captain on this show, not on the other Ohno show.
Fair enough. And of course, our predictions champion, the modern day Maharaja himself. Ladies and gentlemen, from Denver, our good buddy Matthew. Matthew, welcome to the show. We had a good one last week, just the two of us bros hanging.
We did. It's been a while. We missed you, Duncan.
We did.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't be here, fellas. Had some things
worries.
come up, but we're back rocking and rolling, the full Freebird crew in effect.
I love it. And, man, you missed some big stuff because I guess, the 1 week you take
Nothing
off.
big happened.
Don't worry about it. In
Don't
case
worry.
in case you didn't watch any wrestling, there was like nothing to talk about.
I didn't hear anything that happened in wrestling last week.
We really struggled for topics, didn't we, Matthew?
I figured you would.
Yeah,
I figured you would.
It
I
was
listened
hard.
back to it and it sounded like a struggle.
Yeah, it was tough. We had nothing going on, but hey, it's fine because there's plenty stuff going on this evening, and we even have more predictions to do towards the end of the show.
Fucking A.
That being said, there's a lot of rumors and predictions coming out about one guy that is no longer, apparently, according to memos being sent around the WWE offices, no longer with that company, and rumors that he might be joining another. What do you guys think? Does the AC on CM Punk's shoe have any relevance, or is that just a troll? Did you catch any of that stuff with the letters being on
The
his
AC
shoes?
and the BW?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that it has both a hair. I think one of them is a troll and one of them is true.
And okay, all right. What about you, Matthew? Are you kind of in that same mindset?
I'm kind of in that same mindset just because he's like, all right, so we already know that AEW kind of like dropped those hints, with like kind of what Kenny was wearing, the chick magnet, the cookie monster, like, there were some tells, people saying things like we said last week. It was like the worst kept secret on the internet.
And purposefully. I mean, I still think that there's certain stuff that was leaked with the CM Punk return or debut, however you want to term it. I think that there was definitely stuff leaked purposely by
Absolutely.
AEW.
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%. But they also wanted to like show that Rampage could fucking do numbers, like in Chicago and with a rowdy crowd and like a huge, and good on them.
And it was, and I think it all ties into something that we heard earlier in the year, I want to say, when Christian debuted, that TNT was a little bit miffed with, hey guys, like, you know, it's cool you do these, you know, random out of nowhere debuts, but it would probably benefit us if you didn't do that all the time, and maybe we had something to promote on TV. Right. This was obviously it being in Chicago, all the hullabaloo, all the smarky little treats in everything. This was the way to absolutely do that, you know, with the CM Punk thing. And I think maybe we're seeing just a hint of the same thing happening again, but not as dramatic.
I think so. The one thing that makes me think that, you know, one of the two or part of this is a troll, or, you know, like, it's just because he's been known for that before. And like, they've gotten everybody so worked up right now. Like, they literally have like everybody like hanging on to every word, every visual, every cue, tweet, anything, and reading into it. So like, why not fuck around with them just a little bit? Just fuck around a little bit and keep that going, and fucking keep it going and make it fun.
We've had the AC on Punk's shoe. We've had all the stuff on Instagram and whatnot from Kenny and the Bucks, and we've had like the Bucks doing like in their bio basically changing it to a video, like a link to a video of a seance.
About resurrection,
all the stuff.
Look, there's only been a few people that have been killed on BTE, right? Like, there's only a handful of people that are ghosts.
Yep. And
Adam Cole, Fat Ass Massa.
I forgot they killed off Fat Ass Massa. Yeah, he shall not. Yeah. So you are correct, and to bring back an Adam Cole, I mean, it just seems so like perfect. Like, of course Adam Cole is going to get offers, and I don't blame him if he is fielding offers legitimately from a multitude of places, whether it be New Japan, Ring of Honor, a former home of his, and now possibly, you know, AEW. But
he'd be stupid not to.
Right, exactly. Listen to what everybody has to say. He is
in the position that he doesn't have to make a decision right away. Like, he can sit back and like talk to each group and like promotion and say like, what are you offering? And then he can decide what he actually wants based off what everybody is offering, and put together something. You know, he has some negotiating power. So he might like what one promotion says, one clause, and love everything else, and he wants it added or something like that. Like, so he has a little bit of power for him to be able to say like, this is kind of what I want. I don't think it's like carte blanche, but I think it's like he does have like a little bit of a strong arm in this, that he can say he wants a couple of things. So you might as well listen to everyone.
And I'll even say that at this point too, it would be foolish for him to not listen to the WWE as well, because they might make him some ridiculous offer. Now, we know how the WWE has seemingly handled some of these contracts, but if he had a guarantee, hey, we're going to fire you, but you still make X amount of money type thing built in there, then fuck it, right? Like, it's...
But is it about the money for Adam Cole?
I doubt that it is. I'm sure it plays a part. I'm
sure it does, but I think he's probably made a decent living for himself the last few years in NXT, especially being like the sort of name of that brand for a while.
What was it that the rumored contracts were for those like upper echelon guys? Like, when Finn went over, it was reported he was making sort of major money, but in NXT. Do you remember what that figure was around? Because
we looked it up at some point.
I know we did. I know that like entry level starting NXT is like 150.
Oh, I thought it was less than that.
No. Like, if you're actually NXT,
not PC,
not
developmental. Right.
Actually, no, I take that back.
I think it's less.
You don't. Some people. All right. So let's see. Well, who the fuck is saying this? Oh, Ringside News. So I'll try and find something else. But they're saying They're not making 250 or 300,000 or anything like that. Balor, I'm sure is, but I don't think anyone else is. They're probably in the low 100,000s. I know one top person in NXT who's been there for a long time, and he should be making a ton, but he's making 130,000. So they're making like 130, 150,000. Adam Cole may be making a little more, but he should be. That's the range.
Yeah.
NXT, you usually see the start at like 60 to 50, maybe 50,000, depending on who you are.
Yep.
If you're like a guy who was a football player, you might get more, and then you'll get raises to a certain point.
That's what I was
you
saying.
Make more than that, but not much.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. I don't think that it's regular that those guys are making 150. You know,
no, it's definitely not.
It's a lot less than that. So, but he was probably in that range, I would assume, of their top paid guys.
I would say he had to be around like a 200.
I would say
2
to 2. Yeah. Maybe
right?
Topping out at 250.
250, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I just don't really, you know, it's so hard to put it all into perspective, but
215.
He's
$1, Bob.
he's a guy though that can command a good $250,000 where I think ever he goes, especially right now, and with maybe some creative control. With the relationship with the Bucks, I mean, granted, yeah, Tony Khan's been signing, you know, people left and right, and I'm sure, you know, at some point the money's gonna have to stop flowing, you know, not completely, but at least slow down.
Flowing out when the money stops flowing in.
Right.
Because the money is fucking flowing in.
Yeah, they're doing great. They're doing great with their deals. They're doing great with everything. I think at the moment.
It just makes me wonder, legitimately, how did WWE fuck up so hard that they legitimately, and I don't care what anybody says, AEW is a legitimate threat.
Without a doubt.
And the fact that they are willing to work with other wrestling companies for the benefit of everybody is such a slap in the face of wrestling convention that it's refreshing to see. You know, I think I was telling you, Owen, it's just like they got the lapsed fans back.
They did. And I think it's maybe a case of, obviously AEW's done a great job, and we've said it a million times about creating and getting those lapsed fan back, and about, you know, just letting things breathe and creating a new, you know, invigorating product. But it's almost as much that the things had to align with WWE as well by dropping the ball so hard for it to have happened. If WWE was at the top of its game, this wouldn't have been possible in the scope that I think that it is currently.
I agree.
And that's why, you know, when Adam Cole signed with NXT, there wasn't that next big step from the quote unquote indies to getting there, right? To getting to that next level. He had to sort of take that step. Now that there's that opportunity, now that there is that chance, and with a litany of guys that I think all of us would be very happy to see him work with, the list is sort of endless, you know, at this point. And I guess the biggest question that I have to both of you is that with also the rumors of Daniel Bryan on the horizon, having just had CM Punk, not long had Malachi Black, and not that long before it having Andrade, now, is it too soon to hop straight into Adam Cole? Is it too soon to hop into Daniel Bryan? How would you guys do it? Who would, there's several big shows that are coming up, and even one in Orlando that would make sense for a certain Bay to show up as well. Thoughts?
Well, Matthew.
I mean, we kind of talked about this last week.
We did.
So I definitely want to hear Duncan's opinion on this and have him get into it. I will say that, like I said it last week, blowing your load all at once isn't going to be, like, you want to keep, like, the train moving, but you, like, don't want it to, like, be going so fast that it's eventually just going to crash or, like, completely halt. And we've seen AEW do things in form of production and things like that. So, but at the same time, you got to pull the trigger sometime, right? So
tortoise in the hair to a certain degree, right? Yeah, it's maybe not the best idea to keep like burning through all this talent. But yeah, at the same time, you kind of run the risk of maybe if you don't do it soon enough, even losing some guys to another promotion.
Right.
Or
yeah, I would say if they have the contract, they probably are just paying some sort of money up to that build up just to like hold it.
That's true.
But again, also as a wrestling promotion, because they're fucking already red hot right now, wouldn't they want to keep going even more fucking hot, right? Like molten, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. But again, I think a little bit of spacing out. I think we could see both of them by the end of the year. So we have Full Gear, like you were saying, you have Orlando. So from last week where I was saying like they should draw it out a little bit, All Out, they're going to close some storylines, so they do need some new storylines and they have some time to build some things. So, I mean, one in this next little bit, and then maybe something at Full Gear or something towards the end of the year to get you through those winter months and and like the roster is even more stacked. Maybe that sounds about right. But
there's going to be something big at the New York show.
I think so too. There's going to be and we'll talk a lot more about All Out obviously later when we do predictions. But with All Out as well, the card is good, but I feel like it does need one of those big surprises or two, because like looking at it,
and that's why I think the card is what it is.
Sure.
Because I think that they know that, like, look, All In was stacked as fuck, right? Like, because it was at that point a sort of one shot. So they wanted to make sure that it was like, if this is the only time we get a chance to do this, let's make sure we have a hell of a fucking impact.
Yep.
Pun not intended. And they did. And then like, so the last few pay-per-views or like their bigger events, they're stacked, but they leave room for other miscellaneous fuckery, right? And so I think realistically this year, if everything is to be believed, and Daniel Bryan's debut has been moved up
to All Out.
Yeah.
That's the rumor I keep hearing is All Out, but
yeah.
I'm not 100% sold on that. I do think that
you're getting Adam Cole or Daniel Bryan.
Do you think one of the two at All Out?
You're getting one of them.
They can also then string along a few weeks of TV without them actually wrestling.
Correct.
Right.
Just like they're doing with Punk.
Just like they're doing with Punk. You can keep those ratings. You can have, and you could even have them take a bump or two, or like get into like, something in the ring where it's just a couple
Punk's
of
going to hit a GTS on somebody tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I predict that,
you can't just have him come out and talk again.
And
without
like, you can't have him just like, look, the first promo, amazing. Have him like, that is all you needed it to be. Just have him come out, shoot from the heart, cut one of the Punk promos that Punk can cut, and go from there. Then Rampage, awesome. You had him there.
Nice little 5-minute piece, with Shivani in the ring.
Exactly. And now they're booking him for a CM Punk promo tomorrow night.
Right,
awesome.
right. Not to be nitpicky, but yeah, he appeared on the first Rampage, then the Dynamite, then he wasn't on the second Rampage, but they played, but they had the promo package. So then,
but still, so that's 3 out of the last 4.
Correct.
So they'll then have, and I predict that you have him come out and talk, and there's got to be some sort of something, right? Like you got to give the fans heighten
it a little bit, especially because it needs to happen. Like you got to still sell the fight between him and Darby. You got to sell the tension. Yeah, they've done a good job of like, oh, this will be a gentleman's kind of grudge match in a weird way, a gentleman's, like exhibition.
The battle of the straight edge.
I bet. I what if tomorrow night, and this would be great fucking ratings, which would also lead to even more probably buys on the pay-per-view, but he fucking does something to Sting, like because they've been in the rafters on the first one, right? Yep. Someone's got to take the bump, and like it doesn't need to be Darby.
No, I think
like it could be Sting, and then Darby's even more fucking pissed going into this match, like that something happened to fucking Sting, or
Dude, and what if Sting gets hit with the GTS and then Sting isn't at all out?
He's not
with
a
Darby?
factor. Yeah, maybe he has to take him out in to not have that be a factor, like I'm smarter than you. I just don't see them going that route at all because all of it is like I think Darby Sting are way too popular right now, and I just don't see them turning Punk for a while.
But you say that they don't have to turn him.
No,
because he's still gonna win the match at All Out.
Exactly.
What if he doesn't though?
So what if he doesn't? Who gives a shit? Like, what does it actually matter whether he wins or loses?
Probably.
It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't.
It didn't matter.
But in storyline, because Darby Allin said he's best in the world.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm
because
torn.
He said, yeah.
I'm torn on that one because like I could see him coming in, putting over a new talent, but at the same time, I don't buy Darby Allin beating CM Punk.
If fucking Darby Allin beats CM Punk, I will fucking riot.
Yeah, I don't see it in the first match at least. Is there a way to do Darby more as a heel for the night? Like maybe there's more of a sinister side with Darby.
CM Punk is a prick.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to be a heel. He can just be a prick.
He can be like fucking, he can be a prick the same way Stone Cold was fucking anti-authority and fucking badass and still be fucking loved by everyone.
Exactly. There's nothing you can do, I think, short of sacrificing Brandy and Cody's baby on TV
that will turn him heel.
That would turn him heel.
Yeah, that's.
And even then,
I'll
rejoice because you'd see fucking real tears
then
come
we
out
just
of
know
Cody's
that there's not going to be the first Rhodes female wrestler in.
Has anyone seen that baby? Does it have bleach blonde hair yet?
I'm sure it does. It probably already has a neck tattoo.
Tips.
Mm-hmm. It actually came out wearing the handsome Cody face mask. It actually had
and from her vagina it was kind of like the thing that dropped down for Cody's entrance.
Yeah,
like it was that
the Stardust contacts.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of AEW, actually no. While we're on sorry.
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say we keep like jumping from thing to thing to thing. I wanted to go back to the whole Adam Cole, Bray Wyatt thing real quick.
Yeah.
So I think Adam Cole is Adam Cole to me is a lock for AEW.
Feel like it, yeah.
He'd be perfect in AEW.
He's perfect in AEW. His fiance is there. His best friends are there. He can have the matches in AEW that he's not going to get to have if he stays in WWE. Right. And he will still have the ability to go and work in Ring of Honor and like in all these other promotions.
And he has the style that fits as well, very much.
Exactly. So I was thinking about that, and then I feel like we're going to get Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman reuniting in Impact.
I think that's logical.
Interesting because we've read the rumors of Braun and Impact, and then we saw just because of his tweet, right, that he recently did. Titan, yeah, and always make an impact. Yeah, like something like that. But I did read an article like yesterday morning or something like that when I was drinking my coffee, and they made a good point. They were saying like AEW might not really be the right place for Bray Wyatt. Right. And so the article Braun, was saying, really? And I forget where it was, but it was the character thing. Like he is really good at character work and characters, and like in the ring, like he's good, but he's like point out like a fucking 5-star Bray Wyatt match. Right. Like, that, I mean,
that's
like
not
he's good
why
enough because his character work and his fucking stuff and his in-ring work is good enough to back all of it up to like make a complete package, right?
His in-ring work was never what got people to like Bray Wyatt.
Exactly. No. And the point of that article, which I started agreeing with, which I guess it was propaganda at that point, that article, but I was agreeing with it at the end, and I was like, you're making a good point, because they're like, AEW is what WWE has these like characters, right? And they don't rely on the wrestling as much and things like that, like the theatrics of wrestling and just entertainment. And they're like, Bray Wyatt is more of like a sports entertainment person, as opposed to what AEW is doing is like wrestling.
Yep.
And they're showing us the wrestling that we want to fucking see. And they're like, you know, broken Matt Hardy, everyone popped. Okay, he came back. Granted, it was during the pandemic. Maybe it would have been different, but they abandoned that pretty fucking quick because it's like this character
really
thing.
work,
And like,
did it? Yeah.
What's her name? She's from Colorado. Abaddon. Yeah. Like she had a run at the title for a second. Like she was showing up not just on Dark but on Dynamite, and they pulled back on that pretty quickly. I don't know if that's the same thing, but the article was pointing out characters like that like the character part isn't really like Aleister Black. It fucking works because he's a great fucking wrestler.
Exactly.
You know, so like you can give that bit, and he's not overdoing that.
No, that's more like true to life. Like you can see that being like an over the like that's turned up to 11, but that's still true to life, right?
Exactly.
Like that's the antithesis of Cody.
Exactly. And Wyatt's and Rotunda, he's creative enough that he can do these things like Firefly Funhouse and like those types of things. But I don't think you have all the time to do that in AEW.
And I also think too, it fits so perfectly at the end of the day, because if you were to have, say, a Braun and Bray in Impact, it's another nice little way to keep that forbidden door open and to be able to use like, hey, you know, it's not best for us. You know, maybe even it gets to a point like Impact, we'll throw you a fucking couple $100 over here if you sign these guys. You know what I mean? Tony Khan helps them get into Impact for favors later down the road, though, with Impact Wrestling and that type of thing, just as they've done with kind of Kenny and all of that. Like something that will get eyes on that product.
And that's
can
the
only
thing,
help.
is like Impact is better suited for the characters, right?
Yes.
Like look at Decay and look at how Abyss got over, and like they've
Rosemary
got Black Taurus right now. Rosemary, exactly. Sue Young.
Is Rosemary still with the company of Impact?
I don't.
If she is, though,
clue.
wouldn't it be brilliant if they did the old rumors from back in the day that Rosemary should be Sister Abigail, have at least a little bit of an interaction or like a crossover with that?
Right.
That works great. And I'm sure like you know, Braun had the tweet about something talking about making a Impact. And the only person he apparently follows on Twitter is Bray. So there's nice little subtle hints with that. I'm not so sure I like what the proposed name of Braun might be. With was it Titan? They're called like he might be something Titan
or maybe.
There's a way to fit it in, I guess.
There's a way to fit it in, sure.
Yeah, he better not go with the slogan "Remember the Titan," though. That would be bad. Yeah, I will say that
I could see him doing that.
I wonder what that looks like with the Forbidden Doors. There is some sort of contractual obligation between the companies, and someone worked something out. Like there is some sort of royalty or payment or things like that based on ratings, and like there is something there. I think AEW is like obviously the strong arm in that negotiation.
Yeah. Right.
But I think there has to be something, and there is some exchange of money, and I think that like if these promotions are smart, which they are proving to be, and like CM Punk said, there are people in the back who actually fucking listen. I think it is smart to do that, and then when you have this offloading of WWE talent, you don't put them all in one promotion but like that's what WWE did. They had too much fucking talent.
Learn from those mistakes.
If you do these and you have these kind of contracts and people being able to do it, like Braun, like they could say they want to be on a Dynamite at some point or something. They're like, yeah, we'll throw you on and we'll tie you into a storyline. You fucking sign with Impact. You do your thing at Impact, build your get your comeback. Like eventually, we'll do something with you. Like that is contractually.
There's no story for you here.
Like the way that like it keeps everything open, and that is what's best for business. If we're looking at what these promotions are doing, is like doing that, and instead of building like one promotion where everything is fucking really tight and like there's no outside world, like there are multiverses, like you know, it's like they're expanding of this, like, and like that's how wrestling should be. And those territories go back, and it's like larger than territories. I don't know what we call it. It's because it's like promotional wrestling, you know, but it's fucking cool.
Yeah, but it is the new territory system because territories used to work with each other, right? The National Wrestling Alliance would send their champion to different territories. There would be like cross promotion here and there. And that's how things would get over.
I guess it's just
nationwide.
different than like the regionality that we used to have because the world is so much more open up now that like every territory can work in every location, really. It's never going to go back to Florida and Southeast and
or
Texas
and
or
so
whatever.
instead of it being location based, it's now just
promotion
brand
based. Brand based, and who's maybe more popular in certain areas. I'm sure Impact draws very well in your Nashvilles, in like parts of the Southeast, because that's where their basis is. So that's a nice way for Tony to kind of like dip his toe into that, right? Like it's
absolutely,
it's a great move overall. And like you said, it's one of those that just keeps like, maybe we don't over at AEW have a story for every single guy that just got fired from WWE, but we want to maybe in the future. So go do a couple years in Impact. Maybe after a couple years, maybe then we talk then too. But even in that meantime, we can work together on something because it will help us both.
They're more open now. Like that's the thing. It's like you said, like this closed off world where nothing else permeates, right? Like you built a wall around your city. And all that you want in your city is what you have inside the walls of that city.
You don't need anything from the outside.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, the whole outside world is flourishing because everything is flowing around this walled off city.
WWE is North Korea. We just figured it out.
There it is.
Holy shit.
Holy shit. That's sort of true.
Whoa. Write that down. That's the name of the episode.
That's actually down there.
North Korea.
Vince McMahon is
Kim Il-sung?
Kim Jin-un.
Kim Jong-il?
No,
whatever Kim they're on this week.
Yeah. It's not Kim Jong-il.
He'd still be
Kim Il-sung.
He'd still be Kim Jong-il, except he's alive. Yeah. Vince would actually be like the original crazy.
He's the one that like is the god.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like the fucking Jesus.
Yeah,
like,
but he's
like
the god.
I get them all mixed up at this point.
Yeah, me too. My North Korean fucking dictators.
I know. I haven't been getting the news of it over here for some reason. It's like blacked out on the channel.
Crazy how that is. Something I did get some news from, and I do think actually ties in quite nicely to this whole conversation, though, is the fact that as of, I believe, yesterday or today, Buddy Matthews, formerly Buddy Murphy, is a free agent. And he was one that was heavily speculated to maybe go to Impact because people could see him as just being a like kind of like Cardona's gone over to GCW and become a huge deal. We'll talk about him in a sec. But he could but we could all see, I think, Buddy Murphy as like a top guy in Impact. What if Buddy Murphy, though, kind of they did a swerve on us and he was someone that would be a big surprise at All Out? It would probably disappoint a couple people that they thought that they were maybe getting, a Cole or a D-Bry. But
They're getting D-Bry. Look,
but I think you
don't have to have just one surprise at All Out.
That's true.
I also don't. Yeah, I also just don't think you. I could see it going, but
look,
that would be a good mini pop. You're like, oh, we got something. I guess we're not getting anything else. And then when you get a second pop it all out, like it's fucking huge,
right?
But at the same time, again, they're fucking stacking their talent. They already have talent.
Yeah.
I think the only way that works is if the House of Black ends up becoming a staple and he's sort of like an acolyte of Malachi Black.
That would be cool too, and it would fit with their history, and it would also fit with some of the vignettes that have been done. Right. So I'd be stoked on that.
Then let Bray do his thing and build some sort of cult and fucking impact, right?
Yeah.
And you could have the House of Black and whatever the fuck, he decides
the
to
Rotunda family or whatever.
Yeah, or you could then have him going with, what if you have a long-term booking, right? Yeah. With Dark Order, and so he's doing something over an Impact, and then eventually you could do this Aleister Black thing and House of Black thing to get you there, but eventually with Dark Order, because we all kind of talked about that, right? And how he could be the next in line, and it would be a good idea, but he like then starts, it's not like an invasion, but they start going back and forth, and that's how he gets into AEW long term. Is that he's like after he does this thing, he's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking, I lost to House of Black, or maybe he won, who knows, but like Dark Order and him start going back and forth, Impact and
you're
AEW,
talking with Bray,
and
you're
eventually
talking
crosses over and brings up and runs Dark Order there.
I still don't think that happens. I still don't think that they play with that just because of Brody. And
I don't think that Bray would want to step on that. I think that the Dark Order is what the Dark Order is going to be forever. Until the Dark Order disbands, this is what the Dark Order is. Because I don't think there's any other direction you can take it in that doesn't feel like treading on Brody. Like, you can't have a new leader of the Dark Order. I just don't. I know we've all said.
I don't think you call it the Dark Order.
No. Yeah,
Right.
maybe if they completely disbanded and some of those guys kind of moved into another stable and kind of
Sure.
they rebrand. Yeah, if they rebranded or something, that's maybe a way you could do it. But as the Dark Order, no, they're a comedy act now, and they'll always be a comedy act, really. And
Well, they're a comedy act because of a tragedy.
yes, which like and that's what you can't take away. So no,
Right.
I think you leave that alone. But we were just talking about Matt Cardona and what he's doing over at it's Game Changer
Look.
Wrestling, GCW. How all of a sudden has he become like the biggest heel in the industry? With like what he's done is amazing.
Yeah, and, like, fucking
Everything he's been
badass.
doing lately has been amazing.
Amazing.
Him dressing as ECW Vince.
Fucking
Oh.
amazing.
Mwah.
From the
Him,
start
like,
from the start of it, of the tease of the Moxley and Nick Gage, right? Like to the the big surprise to him doing that match and winning that match, which no one ever thought would happen. To
No.
now being the champion. Duncan, what did you say he renamed the belt?
Well, first of all right, I got to pull this up because his Instagram the last few days has just been amazing. Matt Cardona. All right. So the first thing I saw was he had like the Velcro on a belt, like he had zipped it, he had stitched it and it was purple. And then like I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then
Whoa.
and then there's a email that he sent to Joey Janela, and it said we should rename the GCW World Title the GCW Universal Title. Thanks for reading, Matt. Sent from my iPhone.
That's hilarious.
And then legitimately,
Real quick, 2 hours ago, he tweeted and he says, hey, at GCW Wrestling Universe, this shirt is coming soon. Put your money where your mouth is. And the graphic just says, fuck you, Matt.
I love it. So earlier today or yesterday, he posted the new Game Changer Wrestling Universal Championship belt, and it's a spinner belt.
Yeah, brought
With-
back a spinner belt.
He brought back a spinner, and it's literally got like his skull with the sunglasses and the. Are you looking this up, Matthew?
So
Yeah.
good.
Because I don't know if you haven't seen this yet. Because if you haven't,
I have not seen it. So
it's
am.
amazing.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
It's like 3, 4. Oh, it's several.
To think that for a company so renowned for its hardcore, hard-hitting style, its deathmatch style of type of wrestling, here we are with Matt Cardona, former Zack Ryder, with a
Right.
spinner belt as your champion.
With a spinner belt with purple accents.
It's
And
such
fucking,
good
like-
heel work.
And
it's
it's got
ridiculous.
his logo on it too. Like it's basically his.
Oh my fucking god! This thing.
Is that not the
I
most
ca-
hideous?
It's fucking
And I
hideous,
love
but for
it.
some reason I fucking love it.
Oh, I love it too.
Absolutely
It
love
looks
it.
better than some of the real, like the other belts that are fucking around.
Yep,
It looks better than
absolutely.
Cena's spinner belt. Let's be real. And when
It
Cena,
does.
and when he had a spinner belt, that they were. I mean, Cena, of course, was as face as he could be until he wasn't. And but they were pushing him as a face. This is so funny that they're using such a a trope of that era
Right.
in the other way around. Like, it's brilliant.
And you do notice that it says Universal Champion.
Oh yeah,
right?
Duncan had said that he's renamed the belt officially.
He has officially renamed it the GCW Universal title.
Yeah,
it's fucking hilarious.
which is also genius too, because at any point when he loses it, they can just go back to the regular title and the regular name. You know, like it's
fucking
dual
awesome.
purpose.
I'm like, he has become the biggest heel in independent wrestling.
Yeah,
and
overnight,
this belt,
right? I'm like, oh,
you can't stop looking at it.
I know because the more you look at it, the more
shit
see.
there is. Yeah.
It is cool. It is super cool, and that's good for him. Good for fucking him. A guy that, man, I guess I just never knew he was that creative as well.
I mean, he got himself over on YouTube.
Right, he did. That was in time just getting back into wrestling, but
I think it was actually in our dark time.
It was mostly. But I knew I know about all that YouTube stuff, and he was the internet champion, right? Like he was the first internet champion. How that's ever not really ever become a belt is silly in and of itself.
Yes, I completely agree. Like it's like, come on, that's
what a missed opportunity so
especially right now.
I'm sure there must be some promotion that's done it, but yeah, right now, like instead of if WWE was smart, they could have done the 24/7 championship, had the same exact thing go on, but call it the internet championship and have most of it run on their YouTube channel. Have some type of just like kind of ongoing thing that appears in bits or like something along those lines. Like, and even if if AEW was smart, you could kind of do it, especially with having 2 goddamn shows on YouTube.
Well, there's that.
There's that. Let's talk about those 2 shows, Dunks. And the rumors about those 2 shows.
Oh my God. I had almost forgotten. I was like, we never talk about that. However,
this deserves
those
to be
rumors are
about.
Very intriguing because I could practically spit from here to where the rumored new location of AEW Dark and Dark Elevation tapings are going to be.
It's amazing. This is something that me and Duncan are super familiar with because, of course, both of us have worked at what we like to call the factory.
Indeed.
That being One Universal Studios and Orlando. And there is heavy rumor. I think that we don't hear about it officially probably until that Orlando show that we are attending. That would be the smart way to announce it because half of that audience would have been members of the former Impact Zone, as they used to call it. They're talking about doing it in either
I have the sign.
Yeah.
I have an Impact Zone sign. It's like Impact Zone with an arrow this way.
Yeah. But yes, how exciting would that be for those of us in Orlando to have something that is a one would assume if it's just like an Impact, like this is their PC in a sense. This is their training grounds for new talent to bump up to Dynamite, to bump up to Rampage. This is a way for you to do a show that is a soundstage show that would fit Dark and Dark Elevation and also not burn out your audiences before and after Dynamites or Rampages. Granted, you can probably get away with it more on Rampage because it's an hour
Rampage
show.
Is going to need something to pad out.
But maybe not as much padding out, and you can get a lot more training and make those actual shows instead of match.
Right.
Give guys kind of a home base to grow out of. And how sort of brilliant is it when half of NXT's talent pool that got released live in Orlando and
NXT's crowd that go to the PC every week
on formerly Full Sail.
Exactly.
And can't. And there's a lot of people that were in that crowd that were the Full Sail kids that probably haven't even been to a CWC show, that weren't privy enough in the industry, if you will, to get into some of that shit like we were. And I would dare say that you're going to gain a lot of that audience moving over to a soundstage at Universal where, it's going to be a free ticket, it sounds like, or,
Yeah, included with your park admission. Like,
Right.
it's not going to be separate. It's not going to be like, come and pay.
I've heard multiple things about that.
So I think, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because you guys obviously live there, know way more about this, but this seems almost like when NXT went to Tuesday nights and they claimed there was no war or anything like that, and then that happened. Then it comes out that, yes, there were fucking ratings and issues and certain things, right? So you have that. Does this now sort of become a turf war?
Yeah.
Like, is this like, hey, you ran away, now I'm going to show up at your fucking doorstep.
I think there's a lot of that going on.
And I'm going to sit on it for a while.
Dude, it's the most
like,
G thing.
It literally is fucking like a G move.
This is a straight G move.
I'm gonna be right there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be right over here.
Well, the first
Like,
G move starts.
You can come fucking talk to me whenever you want. I'm here to talk. Like,
this is like old school death row bad boy shit.
Yeah, my presence is known. I think it's that, and then I think you're seeing a little bit of this pushback because I saw the new NXT logo, which is fucking horrible, and with like,
I could make a better logo on my fucking phone.
But dude, all it is fucking take a lighter, happier version of fucking what AEW does, because they have those splashes and shit, but it's just black. It's dark mode versus light mode on fucking iPhone.
That's
all it is. And so like NXT has literally taken like light mode and they've done the splashes inside instead of like on the outside. And so like their retaliation is kind of trying to do a similar thing, right? So I'm like looking.
No, they're swinging their dicks at each other.
Yeah,
for sure.
There definitely are. This is like the turf war.
The turf war starts with the Arthur Ashe stuff, without a doubt. Like that's the real like okay, now we're. I mean, that is a big play. That is a big play.
Yeah, that's the big. We're coming into your backyard where you've always been, but Florida has been where WWE has been trying to establish their presence for years.
Arguably bigger at this point.
I agree with Owen. I think I agree with both of you. I think Arthur Ashe, this is like, hey, we are not to be fucked with.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Orlando is, we showed up on your doorstep and we moved in next door or on the same block.
Yeah.
And like, now you got to deal. Now you can't not deal with.
You could get to
you
one
ran away once.
If you're hauling ass. You could get to one from the other within 30 minutes. Like if the traffic's good, like this is it's across town, but it's a small town, and
it's only across town because this town built out and not up.
Yeah. So this is a genius move, and I have heard some different reports that this won't be have to be a part of a park admission. Now
they're going to do which means they're just going to take over my old soundstage.
That's exactly what my thought process was, is that it would go into an old soundstage that Duncan used to work with and has equal sides to both getting people from both within the park and from like essentially outside in their city walk area, that if they even wanted to, they could close off one side or the other, and they could even charge admission for that independent thing if they wanted to.
There's a box office literally there already.
They could have a box office of their own, a walk up, hey, want to see it, $10 tonight or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know, it would be that cheap.
The only problem with that soundstage in particular is the dressing room areas.
Right.
There's not a lot of dressing room space. They have to do.
They had that problem with. They had that same problem with TNA, if you remember, though. And
they put the
they
trailers.
Used to put the trailers
there,
outside of it, and they just put some trailers out back. So I don't know that they wouldn't do exactly the same thing. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. So, I mean, I could see it going either way.
I'm excited for the prospect of it, because this could be a weird, like, it's coming home even though it's not, like, it's a different company, but it's a
but
weird,
like wrestling at Universal. I don't know.
They're
always
synonymous with each other in a weird little way, like,
Yeah,
because
'cause
they
of how
took
long-
over from almost the MGM mentality back in the day with Disney and whatnot. So this would be the closest that AEW could even approach that type of atmosphere, and that's
Yeah.
what they will probably go after, is what those Eric Bischoff MGM Studios shows were. Of course, probably not live on television, but what if you did it in a way where you had Rampage that was 1 hour live from Seattle, and you had the first hour as Dark live from Universal Studios, and now you have a 2-hour show, your second 2-hour show.
I mean, you could do that. Do they have that second hour to
They'll get it
on TV?
I think they'll get it, though. That's the thing. I think they're damn
Well, this
close
is the
to
thing
it.
is I feel like in the same way that NXT went from being 1 hour to 2 hours, and then you know what I mean? Because
the
NXT
product
used to
did
only
suffer.
be an hour.
It did suffer when it went to 2 hours, and it suffered when it moved to TV. And
Well, it suffered, but I don't think it. I think my point is more that like the demand was there for the second hour, and the demand was there. You know what I mean? From the audience, be like, hey, we're not quite getting enough of what we want from this hour, because it's just like boom, 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 boom.
well,
done.
that's sort of the problem with Rampage at the moment. Is
Yeah.
it's there's a lot that you got to cram in there in 1 hour. It's tough. Like, I almost wish they could just get away with, like, can we just do a 90-minute show? That would almost be perfect for me if it was not quite 2, but you did a split in the middle. I think at that point you can keep the slot on a Friday night and still get away with 90 minutes. You can't keep that slot and get away with 2 hours. Not at 10 o'clock. Not on a Friday night. I think you would have to move it probably to a Thursday, and now you're doing what? Back-to-back shows Thursday, like Wednesday, Thursday. That's shitty too.
Yeah.
So I do wonder, like, well, I mean, yeah, with the move to TBS, who knows? Because maybe they'll allow them. Both of you, do you ever foresee Rampage being more than a 1 hour show?
If anything, I think they do move it to 90 minutes, like you're saying. But I think this is the feeler.
Yeah.
And like, you only have so many nights you can choose from. You're not going to do Rampage into Dynamite, or Dynamite and then Rampage.
And you're not going to go head to head with Raw.
Could you ever do a Saturday show?
No.
Not traditionally. It doesn't work. It's probably worse than Friday, right?
Yeah. I mean, does Friday even work?
And even a Sunday show, like, you're kind of backed in, right? So it's like, do an hour, make it hot. Like, that hour fucking consistently hot. And, like, test it out. And then, I mean, or is the plan to, like, build the fucking brand? And then do you show up on SmackDown's fucking doorstep eventually, like a couple of years down the road, right? Do you just keep but like, you could expand to 90 minutes in that time, then you do a time change, or you get really ballsy and you fucking do the last 30 minutes of SmackDown versus you, and you make your first 30 minutes hot as fuck, that like people can't not tune in.
Right. Start at 9:30 on a Friday night.
I mean, that's another, but again, I think that has to be proven. I think this hour long needs to stay an hour long for a little while. I don't think they would change anything until there's the TBS jump, like you just said, Owen. I think that's the smart move. I think, you can't have all of these debuts and changes, and like, you can keep that show red hot for a while and make it like must-watch TV for an hour. Like, you gotta stay up. You want to see what's happening on fucking Dynamite.
Could you do a Rampage starting in the second hour of SmackDown? So
that's what I was just saying.
Yeah, okay. So starting at 9 instead of starting at 8, and then like you have. Is that what you were saying?
I was saying, I said like 9:30.
9:30.
Yeah, like you do their
9:30
last
to
half
11.
hour.
But keep it an hour, and then like if SmackDown sucks for that first hour, oh, it's okay. I'll switch over. I'll switch over to check out the 1 hour of Rampage.
That's
Also,
a little bit
keeps the
more...
kids, but kids are up too. You know, a little later on a Friday. Like it's them. Like I'm just trying to think of ways.
A little bit. I don't know. I would be more hesitant to put SmackDown and Rampage head to head than I would be to have that last half hour and then another hour afterwards, just because of Fox.
Fox being the big one with that, just in so many more homes.
I can watch Fox.
Right.
I can't watch Rampage.
Yep. No. That is definitely a fair point. I did want to just touch on one thing that, Edge ruined it, man. Edge ruined everything, even though his entrance at SummerSlam was the best. But did you hear about this one?
Sure did.
Fuck it, man. Gangrel is apparently going to be on AEW.
I am so glad that Edge ruined that because it would have been a dump. Why the fuck?
Wasn't Gangrel just recently at what's Deuce the Thunder?
Yeah, he's always there. Thunder Championship Wrestling.
Thunder Championship Wrestling. Yeah,
Winter Haven,
I remember
Florida.
seeing him post something that Gangrel was there like a little bit. I was like,
this is what I'm saying.
And I actually did think about that because I was like, man, fucking Gangrel. I was like, and then there was Edge, and then there was Christian, and now there's still Edge and still Christian relevant, and like Gangrel, and I'm like, oh man, he got that taken, but he did say that fucking Edge did talk to him about it, so it wasn't like a.
Oh, I didn't. I missed that.
And he said you should do it. And he said it was a long time in the making.
Yeah, Edge had been working on it for like almost 2 months.
Exactly, and that's why they did the black blood was because of the PG thing. They couldn't do red.
They can't do red anymore.
I didn't even catch that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Gangrel did a whole interview about it. So like he was just like, it sucks that it didn't happen, but at the same time, like
he
Edge
understands.
did reach out.
Yeah,
and so like.
That's the respectful thing to do.
It is a respectful thing to do, especially because, like, how the fuck does Gangrel fit into AEW?
Dude, fanging and banging. He's hanging out with he's out with Luther, man. He'll just come down. Yeah.
I swear to God.
New Matt Hardy, a family member or office member. What else could we do with him? I'm trying to write. I'm trying to write something for Gangrel. You wait.
Go ahead.
No, I'm trying. No, it's got to be something with Christian. Is probably what they would have done, right?
Yeah, and it would have been stupid.
It probably would have been. He probably would have like kind of cost Christian something, or like. That's the only way you do it is if he kind of makes an ass of himself, to be honest, and sort of like hinders this new Christian, or they just make a mockery of him and like he comes out with Kenny or something for fun. Like he's out there like if they, you know what I mean? If Kenny's dressed as Gangrel and he's part of the Brood and they do that.
And this is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, that would be the only probably way to do it.
That would be fucking hilarious if Kenny was dressed as the Brood.
Yeah.
Kenny's dressed as Edge.
Yeah, you get the Young Bucks.
Yes.
Yeah, Kenny's dressed as Edge. You get one of the Young Bucks to throw on like fucking.
That would be so fucking funny.
Or even
that would be hilarious.
Or Nakazawa. Do it with Nakazawa. Just put a stupid wig on him and have him come down to the ring as the Brood with Gangrel. But they've got Gangrel, and then Kenny can talk shit about like, see, your old friend doesn't even like you, and like you know, that's. I mean, not as good as what Edge did. So I'll let it go. You know, but it would be funny. It would be funny.
It would be funny. I just don't see how that fits in. Like, that's a BTE bit.
Yeah. No, it is. That's 100% a BTE bit.
Like, that's like that. You're flying him up to be on BTE or Talking Shop of Mania 3. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Do you guys want to do predictions?
We should probably get into it.
Yeah, let's at least get into it.
Some of us are apparently going to fucking
No, I'm just like trying to keep things. I got plenty more to talk about, but there's like, hey, we should get
we
it.
can always do a 3-hour podcast about
Right.
wrestling.
Right. I mean, but at the same time,
This dog.
I like when we get the all the fucking predictions out of the way, and then we can actually talk a little bit more wrestling at the end. We throw the predictions in,
Whatever.
somewhere in the middle.
Let's just predict this. Listen, Jack.
What? Oh, Jack talking to us?
Yeah, well, no, he's not. He's not talking. He's got a last little bit of his treat in this Kong bone, and he keeps throwing it at me, and then I keep giving it to him.
I got
he keeps throwing it at. He knows how this works.
We'll see what his predictions are this week
Jack,
as
who's
well.
gonna win?
And also, funnily enough, a guy that is a big fan of the show. He really, really wanted to, play along tonight. I think you could probably guess. He's not going to join us, but he sent me his predictions, and we'll tell him how either shitty they are or how good they are.
Okay.
We'll use
These
them
are
as
not official predictions.
well. They're
involved.
Yes.
In the championship.
No, they are not. They are not. No guest is ever taking our belts.
All right. So the forbidden door has not been opened.
No,
I'm not letting him do a complete run-in just yet. But
all right.
one Kyle Deuce does have his predictions
that's good. He can be our internet champion.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. He's our internet. Yeah, if he wins, I don't know how. I'll be the internet champion apparently if I would, but who knows. Anyway, it is time that we do a little bit of this. Let me throw some. We need a little bit of hype music for. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the AEW All Out 2021 Predictions Championship to be defended. There is one King of Bong style. There is one Shortbread Kid. And our champion defending his belt, the one and only modern day Maharaja Matthew. Ladies and gentlemen,
let the Fink in here.
Let the games begin. I don't think he ever said that, but that's
I don't think he did either, but
that's what we went with tonight. Guys, I guess we got to start with probably the pre-show 21-woman casino battle royale for the AEW Women's World Championship. By the way, too, if you don't know how this is sort of played, you can play along at home. The champion always gets the winner's advantage, where if we tie, of course, he retains, and he also gets to vote last in the whole situation. So, my bad. Without further ado, the pre-show, and this is a big match here. 21-woman casino battle royale for the AEW World's Women Championship match. Number one contender match essentially. And I think they've added more chicks to this since I think I printed it out. But what we know of so far is Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Tay Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Hikaru Shida, Amy Sakura, Jade Cargill versus 9 other women. I know
one of them.
Yeah.
Being Kira Hogan.
Yep, that's definitely.
Formerly of NXT. Or of
Impact.
TNA, rather.
Yeah.
Impact.
Well, also, talk about being able to give a little bit of a pop. I think we get a Ruby Soho.
100% we get a Ruby Soho in this. My only problem with that is doing it on the pre-show. And I would bet that even though we get Ruby Soho, I do not think that she wins this match.
I don't think she does either.
And I
have a pick.
Oh, you want to go first, bruh?
I can.
I'll be glad to as well. And I'll read deuces whenever.
All right. My pick is Thunder Rosa.
Very, very solid pick. That's a very solid pick.
That's my pick right now. Like I'm looking at all these women. I know there's 8 to be determined, but I think it's Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, and I
think that's got some heat to it.
I think it's going to get down to, I think she'll definitely be in the final few. I think maybe even Diamante will be in that final few. I think Tay Conti will be there. But one other as well that I just really kind of see that they might do this with, because I can see them turning. First off, Britt Baker is already face without being face, right? Like, we all
Sure.
kind of agree with that. I think they'll eventually turn Britt like fully face, and she will need a heel that she can beat. And I think Britt is hanging on to this belt for a long time. And that is why, even though I think she can absorb a loss here, but I'm going to go with Jade Cargill as the winner of this match.
Oh, okay. That's also solid. I think Kiera Hogan is a solid bet as well.
Didn't she? I think she just lost to Kiera, or Jade Cargill on a squash match on Rampage. One of the two, one of them.
Probably. But Kiera Hogan's a solid, I don't know.
No, it's not a bad one.
It's a tough one too, like the women's battle royal, because it's a battle royal,
Right.
and it's the weird casino battle royal.
Yep.
So I don't
But for the record, Deuce is going Soho. So
know. Oh, interesting.
yeah, for the record. Matthew?
I'm going Soho too.
Soho.
I think there's gonna be Thunder Rosa and her are gonna have a thing, and she's gonna end up doing something that I don't know. She's gonna have thrown her over or something like that, and then she's going to win, which would then put her into a back and forth with Thunder Rosa, which I think would be good for the women's wrestling spot of what they're doing. And I think let them go hard at each other. She doesn't have to actually win the title, but she has to win something when she comes back, and this is a good way to get her immediately injected into that top card of the women's division for
I don't mind it.
AEW.
No, I don't mind it, and I think there's also a lot that they can play with here with Ruby as well. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could have her align with quite a few different people that would
I don't know
fit.
that you need to have her align with anybody.
I don't know. No, I don't know that you need to. I'm just saying that I can see it fitting with a few different people.
Sure, I can too, but I just think it's so quick for us to jump to, well, let's just put somebody with somebody else, right?
Stables
Instead of
are
just-
a big deal in AEW. That's the only reason I kind
Stables
of say
are overplayed in AEW.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
little
her
bit.
and like her promos are very much like, not her promos, but like the videos she's been releasing are like her doing her thing, and like
Sure.
The
on
very
her-
independent.
she's
Yeah.
done Riot Squad, like I think she can prove herself on her own.
Second match, Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima.
Satoshi Kojima?
That's close.
Satoshimi?
I said
That's a
no.
side of
I said
sashimi?
I said no. I don't think I said Satoshi, but it's not. Yeah. I'm not super familiar with Kojima. I mean, I know I've seen a couple New Japan matches with him, but I'm not gonna pretend to know the full ins and outs of his career and why this is such a big deal. So, would you mind, informing?
I don't know why it's a big deal.
Okay, so it's not like
He's
it's
an
not like
old New Japan
Naito.
wrestler.
It's not like fucking like
He's not a top guy in New Japan. Like, Kojima is a...
I think it's just to have fucking like a little bit of the crossover and Moxley on the card, because Moxley could go do more over there and wrestle less dates and take some time, as you're at like influxing stars,
Right.
Sure.
He could, so that might be a type of crossover. But if you just look at where he was last year with the world title going in with Kenny, like this is definitely like to have Moxley on the card.
Yeah, and for that reason alone, I believe it would be my pick. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I think that make the fans happy. Moxley wins.
Moxley's gonna win.
Yeah,
it'll be a good match, but Moxley will win. It won't be a great match. It'll be a solid match. It's not going to be a death match. It'll be a strong style match, and Mox will win.
And it'll probably be a nice exhibition of what
Kojima
Moxley
can do.
And also what Moxley can do in that style as well,
Yeah.
because it's fun to
Yeah.
see when he puts the trunks on. Put the trunks on, Mox, every once in a while.
I think he probably will.
He should. He should.
Deuce is
That's
Mox
a
as
that's
well.
a side bet.
Deuce is Mox. I'm Mox too.
All right, Mox across the board on
It's like
that.
that's a side bet is that he wears the trunks.
Yeah, right.
Where the trunks are not.
Then we've got, number 3, Pac versus Andrade El Idolo, with, of course, Chavo Guerrero. Man, well, Duncan, you're first, but I'll tell you that Deuce is going Andrade on this one. If that
Same.
makes any difference. Yeah, and that's my gut. That is my gut. But Pac has lost so many matches, and I just feel bad for him that I want him to win one. But with the storyline and kind of what it seems like they're building, you've got Lucha Bros maybe defecting from Pac and Death Triangle and maybe aligning with Andrade, so that would be a good thing for that. But you know what? I'm going to say that
be a contrarian and go with Pac.
I am. I'm going to go with Pac because I think that that's a little too obvious, and that it also plays into something later on down the line of the night that we'll get to, with, of course, the Tag Team Championship match. Had this been a different challenger for the Tag Team Championships later down the road, I might have gone convincingly with Andrade. But I think that it's going to surprise everyone. They're actually going to beat the shit out of Andrade, therefore forcing a bunch of Pentagon and Phoenix with Andrade matches, sticking with the Death Triangle, surprising everyone. So I think
Pac. Death Triangle is played the fuck out and stupid. Pac and the Lucha Brothers have nothing to do with each other.
No, it doesn't, and I've said that.
Right.
But I'm not so convinced that they are of that. And
you may be right. I just think that because the Lucha Brothers are in the Tag Team Championship match later, them aligning with Andrade and Andrade injecting himself into that feud of the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, and then having somebody with Kenny.
But if we could Freebird, if the Lucha Brothers win and we can Freebird with Pac, then
how does that make sense?
Because Freebird rules all over the place in AEW, so
is it?
Makes sense. It's happened plenty of times.
I think Pac's got to be on its own.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think Pac is working right now.
He's definitely in the UK, so.
No, I mean like in AEW.
Oh, just in AEW. But I don't. But is Andrade either though?
Andrade will work better if he has.
They're giving Andrade the time of day.
Yes.
They're not giving Pac because Death Triangle doesn't have the same opportunity that Andrade has. Andrade just needs to actually back it up in the ring because his matches have been fucking boring.
Right.
Well, Pac's haven't been. So I think this is a good showing. He needs to fucking step it up. Pac can do what he has continued to do. Andrade kind of needs to win. Pac doesn't need to win. He can lose.
Yeah,
he can be on him, but he needs to be by himself and like be a terror.
Well, it's easy to bet like across the board when you're the champion, so I'm sure you're guessing Andrade is the logical pick.
I won't speak until I hear deuces because champion goes last.
No, Andrade.
Yeah, I'm Andrade too.
All right, yeah, obviously. So yeah, I mean, I'm just
just talking shit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to win
because
this thing.
Champion can.
Well, that's the problem is, and kind of what I was mentioning earlier about this card of needing a few surprises, and in maybe a debut or a couple of like interesting things, because so many of the matches really truly are kind of predictable in my head. Like, of course you're right. It makes more sense for Andrade to win that match. Of course you're right. Ruby Soho comes in and wins that. You know, but you gotta kind of take a chance every once in a while with your predictions to ever get a shot at winning the belt.
I took Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam and I fucking won.
Yeah, you did.
It paid off for him.
It paid off big time.
We didn't talk about the Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax thing either.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after we do with
yeah.
predictions, because it is interesting that
we got to do predictions. Somebody ate all of his treat, and now
he needs another.
Oh God, yeah. How will he live?
He's like, no, that couch is cool.
How will he live?
I'll eat the couch.
Paul White versus QT
he's
Marshall.
Got his head in the couch. I'm sorry.
Paul White versus QT Marshall.
I
mean, like
first of
the
all,
match of the ages.
Like, yeah. Also, that's what I was gonna say. First of all, could I care less?
No, I could not. And you know what? I don't give a shit. Paul White is gonna win.
Of course he is.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, of course he is. It's not even a really.
We don't need to waste any more time.
No. And even Deuce from Polk County agrees. So, you know.
Yeah, move past it. Let's move past it.
We'll just move past. Chris Jericho versus MJF with the stipulation that if Chris Jericho loses, he will retire from in-ring competition in AEW.
No.
So I'll just kind of start just to have a conversation about it here. I was gonna say,
and it's champion's discretion, by the way. If you ever want to just say the thing that you're, like.
No, I know.
You can't.
I've done it before, but I'm just, for the sake of conversation, I just want to say with this match in mind, because I think we only briefly touched on it. Or wait, no, last week it hadn't even happened yet, actually. I think I saw what you posted in the group is what it was, and it was like, "Do you really think he's done?" Or somebody posted, and then you and someone had kind of a back and forth. It was probably Jordan Meeks or something. But
he's a Jericho mark.
So but here's the thing, like, fuck, he was back on commentary on Rampage. He only said, even though they fucked up and said it on Dynamite, the announcer said he will never wrestle again. And I think but like, he said specifically, I will never wrestle again in AEW.
Right.
It's kind of like this Cody thing. Like, he could still go to New Japan. He could, so like,
go do a run in Impact or something, if he wanted to.
So the question, like, which I didn't think, like, I'm like, this could be a good swan song. Like, but and that was a good build with like 5, but like at the end of the day, I think Jericho is going to, even though he has said, yes, he could just one day have his last match and fucking walk away. All right, granted, also not on his level. Braun Strowman has said he would only wrestle for fucking Vince McMahon, right? Things fucking change. People have their own opinions. People grow up. You're allowed to fucking grow and expand and do those types of things.
Right.
I think he can do other things, and maybe, and this is not my decision, but he could choose to do this as a way to go wrestle in these other places, do way less dates, go on tour with Fozzy, and then possibly there's some stipulation that gets him back in, right? Like, he's a champion somewhere that gets him back in to be able to have a fucking champions match or something like that. I'm not saying that's right, but like, I've sat around and pondered this. It's kept me up at night, like, thinking,
I can tell.
I just don't think that this is fucking, I don't think it's his fucking last match, but he was very clear. And then they've sold it as he will not wrestle. They don't say that stipulation in AEW.
He will leave. Yeah. Man.
But to go through five layers or levels or fucking whatever the
5 labors.
There were. I knew it started with an L. So 5 labors, and then to lose and to have consistently lost to MJF. Like,
you went out of turn last time.
Like, the story for him to then take it is pretty fucking awesome. And then he could also walk away on his own accord and say, I can come back and wrestle whenever the fuck I want.
And that's kind of what I think is going to happen, because you went out of turn last time, Duncan. I'll go ahead and with Jericho. I'm
going Jericho.
It just doesn't feel like yet to me. And as much as it probably still will be MJF in the end, they can do this after a Fozzy tour. They can do this after a Jericho comeback or a Jericho run on commentary, and maybe it isn't MJF that's the final, guy. But I don't think that this feels big enough in a lot of people's eyes for this to be the end of Jericho and AEW in the ring.
No, correct.
Are we across the board, Matthew?
Across the board.
Across the board. For the record, Deuce was in agreement with us. He's actually not, he's actually playing it real safe. I'll give him that. Miro versus Eddie Kingston. This one's I think gonna be good, but I think it's just the beginning. If I was calling this one, it would be technically my time if we didn't had jumped each other. So I'll just go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I think Miro may not win the match, but he will retain the championship, and there will be a rematch. But I'm gonna go ahead and say for this
5 minutes, puppy.
Miro is taking the he's taking the W on it for me.
Eddie Kingston.
Ooh, good for you. I just think
Kingston has been my my gut has been telling me Kingston this whole time. If they were doing this match at Arthur Ashe, I would definitely say Kingston.
Oh, and that's been my big thing is that I think the rematch happens there, and that's.
But they don't do really rematches in AEW, for that reason, I'm going Eddie Kingston.
It's a very good shout. And for another good reason as well is that this could be a really nice big upset that this pay-per-view needs.
Yes.
That it and it would be that would be a really good one. This one was probably one of the closest for me to pick, but yeah, I'm still going Miro. Deuce's Miro, Matthew.
Also, what if he wins it and then walks into Arthur Ashe as the champ? It's like a celebration.
That's a beautiful moment too.
That is a beautiful moment, and I think because him and Moxley have been teamed up, it's kind of gotten him a little bit even hotter and solidified him more.
He'll probably come in with Moxley behind him. He probably comes in with Moxley behind him, as supporting him.
Maybe, but Moxley has that other match, and it's more of a New Japan.
Exactly.
So if we're saying wear the trunks, then do we then start creating a hey, I fucking respect you, but we can both do our own thing. We can back each other up when we need to.
Yeah.
But we can do our own thing.
We start to back off the Moxley Kingston.
Yeah. So with that said, I'm going Kingston.
Wow. All right.
That's what I'm
bold moves. Bold moves by the both of you. We got then, of course, the Bucks, the Young Bucks. If you'd never heard of them, maybe check out a match. Versus the Lucha Brothers with, of course, Alex Abrahantes, who is one of my favorite wrestling managers in current wrestling.
Rules.
He's awesome. Steel cage match, by the way, for the AEW World Tag Team Championships.
Now, it's going to be a great match, I think.
God. Was it yours, Duncan, on this one? I can't remember. Oh, fucking know.
Yeah.
This...
man, this one's tough.
Oh, it's very tough.
This one I think might be even tougher than Miro Eddie Kingston because my heart wants the Lucha Brothers,
of course,
but my head tells me Young Bucks. Yeah. However, fuck it, Lucha Brothers, because I think they align with Andrade. I think Andrade comes in, even if it's after his match. And I think that I know that it's in a steel cage, but it's a fucking cage. Nobody ever stays out of a steel cage.
Yeah, and that's almost sort of a reason that the Bucks could win it, just because of the chicanery that they could plan around it.
Exactly. There's baby, give me a minute.
Deuce goes Bucks, and I think this is one of those that can go really weirdly also, because you could have some, stuff.
Oh, definite fuckery with the Good Brothers.
Or even because of the Pac situation, maybe you do have, an alignment earlier on in the show with, that, Pac Lucha Bros thing. And
there's so many ways you could go with it.
Well, and then Andrade was saying, in promos and shit like that, Penta and Phoenix would never win championships when they were together with Pac. Like he
And
definitely
it could be that
said
deciding factor. So Duncan,
So
you did
like,
go
if you
Lucha,
planted
right?
that and it's like, oh, well,
yeah.
Andrade wins, and then they win. That could be interesting because you actually do then build something.
I'm gonna do the same. I'm going Lucha Bros.
I think it's time.
I think it's time as well.
Whoa,
Me too.
across the wow.
Yeah,
Across
I
the
think it
board,
makes sense.
apart
if
from
if
Deuce.
I'm gonna call Andrade winning, I think it fucking makes sense because this is, as I said earlier, this is one of the ways that they can actually now change storylines and have things bookend things, right? You can finish and start new things. You can also kind of continue on other things, but like you do need to finish and start some new things.
Yeah, I agree.
Next match, Britt Baker, Chris Statlander. Well, Britt Baker's winning that. That's
Britt Baker,
not even
100%.
not
There's
even
not
a
even a
chance.
question.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Across the board, right, Matthew?
Yep.
Yeah, Deuce agrees. Omega, Christian Cage.
This one's me.
Yeah.
I'm going with Omega because duh.
I'm going as well. There's no way
too.
there's no way that happens.
No, I think that it's time to get the other titles off of Kenny. So Christian becoming the Impact World Champion, like that makes sense to me.
Yep.
It's also a nice little like nod and throwback to, his time over there, but yeah, like,
and the whole story is that Christian's got his number, but does he? And then especially with Callis and all that other stuff, it's like, it's pretty clear to me that Omega will win that.
I think Kenny's gonna be like, I kind of treat you as a little bit of a joke. Now I'm not, and they're gonna have an even better match.
Yep.
And there's also the possibility of that one, like having someone come out last minute, or not last minute, but after the match, like
Daniel Bryan could fucking come out and challenge Kenny.
That something like that seems fitting.
He's not gonna wrestle.
Do you put Punk and Darby on last, or do you put this match on last? Because that's really the two, right?
Those are the two. I also like. They haven't built to it, but like, fuck you. Are you stupid to not do a Rhodes Malachi?
Yeah.
Not on this show, but yeah, like I guess so. Yeah.
They haven't built to it, but they fucking could have and
Give me 5
should have. Like Cody didn't even have to be on TV.
No.
I'm going. I gotta take him out, but CM Punk.
You're going Punk. Yep.
I'm going Punk.
All right, you go take him out. Me and Matthew will finish up the show.
All right, I love you guys. I will
but at
talk
least
to you
we got
soon.
them all in.
Good brother, have a good trip.
Yep. Have a good night.
Peace out.
Yeah, let me switch over here when he's on off.
Bye.
Bye. All right, cool.
Then there were two.
Then there were two.
Over the ropes.
So Deuce goes. I think Deuce went Punk on that, which is the logical thing to do. Like I'm not disagreeing with that. Like it is the logical thing to pick Punk on this, and I just wonder like if there's a way that Darby wins this match, sort of by accident. Like there's a way that like Sting gets involved
and then
like
he's not really the best in the world because Sting helped him
kind of by accident and all that. Damn it, I still got it.
If you're gonna build to that, there's got to be some sort of face-off or altercation between the two this week.
Tomorrow will be a big decider, and unfortunately, we have to guess tonight. So I am gonna go Punk, which I'm sure you're probably gonna go safe bet with Punk across the board. And hey, that's
I said it earlier. If Darby Allin beats Punk like legitimately on his own, and I've said it on how many fucking podcasts that he's just been beaten to shit, and then he ends up winning. And I don't think that's how you do this with CM Punk.
I don't know. We'll find out. It will probably piss a lot of people off in Chicago if that does happen. So like. Anything can happen, and I'll say that maybe it isn't as predictable as we thought. I kind of hope not. I kind of hope we get some surprises. I kind of hope we get some twist wins. I kind of hope we get some of that, because I hate when it's always, any pay-per-view of anything, of just like, we all knew that.
Like, booked it. Yeah, we already wrote it before we wrote it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Last little bit before we get out of here, we wanted to talk a little bit about Charlotte and Nia's shoot on Raw, which I saw most of it, and it did look bizarre. Do you think that this was spawned by a potato?
She got dropped on her head.
Yeah, it was spawned by that, really, wasn't it?
I think that definitely was. I mean, because
Charlotte got
reports
pissed.
I've read afterwards were like, I mean, there were definite, that was shoot. Like, they were definitely going after each other.
Yeah, it looked like
And then they ended up doing the finish that was supposed to happen, and that there was no backstage heat afterwards. But I think that there was, but it also,
yeah, because Nia probably knew what she did and was like, yeah, I deserve to get fucking whacked in the face a few times.
I don't think she's fucking, no, I think that bitch is fucking... Yeah, dude, she's fucking dangerous, and now you're gonna put her on Extreme Rules with Charlotte. I think Charlotte had every right to fucking like be stiff and be like, "Hey, fuck you."
No,
and Nia, I think, got in the moment. It's like, what is it? It's like the 3 Fs, like fight, flight, or freeze. She fucking went with fight, and they both had some back and forth, and it was like, hey, holy. And then I think they both realized, like, holy shit, we're on TV.
You know what?
Like, we got to finish.
At the same time, though, what's almost embarrassing is that they went to that and it was still an uninteresting match. And it was
very uninteresting.
And it still didn't really captivate me. It still didn't really get my attention. So, I don't know. I don't know that that makes me any more interested in seeing, it's not like...
No, I think it's stupid. You shouldn't do that at Extreme Rules. Like, none of this is...
Dumb.
And also, don't do an Extreme Rules match with Nia Jax, because every match with her is Extreme Rules, because she's going to drop you on your fucking head.
There's a good point there. Also, like, she got the pin pretty goddamn clean on Charlotte there. So, that's just interesting in and of itself. We didn't really talk a ton about the NXT new logo or look, but I think overall the general consensus is that I don't think we're huge fans, and I don't know that we're huge fans. Don't think I'm out of line with speaking for you or most people that we're not huge fans of the general concept of, we're going to find really big dudes and make them into professional wrestlers, mold them like clay instead of looking into the indie market. Did you see who they, of course, though, did announce from the PC today? I don't know a ton of their names, but most of them were over 250, 60 pounds, over, 6'5", like very big guys. And then on the, kind of bottom of that list, we got another Uso, basically, rocking up in the mix. Another son of, we'd be brothers of the Usos, son of Rikishi, cuz of the bloodline,
I think again, this is, and I brought it up earlier about the logo, saying that it looked like that, light versus dark version of iOS or something like that, on of AEW. And just the splatter on the inside of the letters instead of the outside.
The outside, right.
But I also think them moving towards more just big guys, like 6'5", 200-something pounds, like that sort of thing. I think that is also reactive of, well, we had these indie guys and this sort of thing, and now AEW is taking them and proving to be a better place. So we need to pivot,
do something completely different,
because we can't compete with that. So we need to do what we think we know.
We need to go back to OVW days and build our Randy Ortons, build our John Cena's,
and then people are going to be like, "Oh, I like watching big fucking dudes body slam someone, scoop slam them, whatever, Simone drop them." And then you're going to be like, okay, if I don't like that and I like faster movement in matches, I'm going to watch AEW.
Maybe that's what they're, that seems like what they're banking on. And with who can blame them on that in general though, when they've been failing so poorly at doing a good job with that indie talent. So
100%.
Change of direction.
If you're going to the circus, you want to see a spectacle, right?
Right.
Like you want to see like the beard woman. You want to see like the 100, like the person bench pressing fucking like 1,000 pounds or whatever the fuck it is. But that type of thing, I think, that's what we're seeing. And now it's like, well, we can't have all of it. So let's like pick and choose, because then you're either going to one show or the other. And people like a spectacle, which is like big people, dudes and women, and like being able to slam. And like, we think it's more forceful. And then there are going to be fans that are like, but like,
well, and they want to build their kids' audience, and we've often said that WWE is a more childlike product, but the demographics are interesting in that regard. That they tend to like go higher when with your 45, 50-year-olds watching WWE, because those are guys that are accustomed to the product. Now you have like your teens and your guys with like your dispensable income and all this sort of stuff. They're getting into AEW because it's the new cool hot shit. Well, they being WWE need to be able to build young superstars for a younger audience to capture them, to be able to get them into their next 10 years. Otherwise, what do they have? I don't know that they really have much. Whereas you look at the other side of the coin, and there's a lot of like strong players that I'm sure we know they identify with Darby Allin. We know they identify with Jungle Boy. We know that they're like some of these younger, skinnier, smaller guys. That could be me, Like, I'm not Brian Cage. I'm not Braun Strowman. I'm not this person. Now, there's that element, of course, that we all enjoy about pro wrestling of seeing the behemoth. But when it comes down to it, WWE's even doing a bad job of building them. So they've got to build stuff for a young generation to be able to move on in the next 10 to 15 years. Otherwise, what do they have to, kind of even compete with what AEW is doing?
Yeah, and exactly. And what do they know that works for younger generations? Because like you said, they have this demographic that's 40s, 50s that are accustomed to this product. What do they know? Fucking big dudes. I sold fucking action figures, posters, like those types of things. I sold this dream of like being a fucking macho man type thing, right? Which is also in today's day and age not something that is accustomed to, like a macho type man, right? So
absolutely.
It's a weird correlation because it's almost like the fucking government, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got these old fucking people who are running it the way that they think the times are. You got young people trying to fucking change it, right? And then you got people like in the middle. It's like that Chris Rock. He's like, some things I'm conservative about, some things I'm fucking liberal about. Like that whole joke
that's
about,
life,
like,
man. That's
prostitution and fucking drugs and stuff. He's like, this I think I'm okay with. This I don't know, but like it's so you kind of have this middle of the road where we are, but you have these people like kind of like setting the line, and I think that's what we're getting with WWE. I think they're going back to that formula of,
I think you're right.
What worked, and like let's like get kids on like big people and superhero type thing, and right. And we're even seeing part of that, which we saw with like Nikki Ash or ASH or whatever the fuck. But like that type of thing, it's like you could be something, right? Like that mentality is what makes me think they're going back to that.
Yep. Yeah, and at least they're giving that sort of idea and gimmick a shot. I mean, there's not much really difference in a gimmick of Nikki Ash to John Cena, apart from just, of course, the way it's portrayed and the charisma. Like, If you really look at those two things, they're kind of identical. That being said, dude, I gotta kind of run. And is there anything else you want to throw in there?
No, I think that's it. I think we're good.
Cool. I will then bid you adieu Hang on. Let me grab the old tunage here for the end of the show. Sorry, Duncan had to dip, but the dog was good for most of the show.
Yeah.
We got through most of it. He got through predictions, so now he gets to take it for a walk, get out of here. I did want to talk about the Iconics coming back, and they're now, of course, the Inspiration. I could see them both appearing in that women's battle royale. And maybe not even being all elite and contracts or whatever, but I could see them being in there. So, look forward to that. That would be a nice little surprise with Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. Anyway, there's a new Dark Side of the Ring coming out soon. A lot of good shit on that as well. We've got some of this stuff that's going to be a good season. Second half. The Plane Ride from Hell, The Double Life of Chris Canyon, Blood and Wire, Onita's FMW, Bikers, Bombs, and Bedlam Johnny K9, The Many Faces of Luna Vachon, Extreme and Obscene Rob Black's XPW, the Steroid Trials to wrap up the season. I can't wait to talk about all of those and more on next week's show. And, of course, everything that probably happened, crazy and not, hopefully a little bay over on the, the All Outs. But, Matthew, what do we say when we get out of here?